Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju ki Jai, Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shritar Shrita Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Guru Dev ki Jai, Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shritar Shrita Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nityalala Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nityalala Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nityalala Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki Jai. Nityalala Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gaurksharas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Nityal Pravishya Srila Saccidānanda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki Jai. Nityal Pravishya Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatanu Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Surup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai. Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौरमंडल ब्रजमंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट विदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माय की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। जय श्री नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्री हरि नाम चिंतामणि की जय। श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। जय श्री हरि नाम प्रभु की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर और Premanande Hari Hari Bo. We'll do a Mangala Charan and then begin. Okay. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Kodiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Maya Bharati Mingilo Daragatan Udritya Jiva Niman Krishna Prema Sudabdi Gahana Sukham Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje Vande Bhakti Vinodang Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajang Radharasa Sudhanidhim Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Saccidānanda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Vrishabhanusutanvitavamatanum Yamuna Tatanagaranandasutam Murali Kalagita Vinoraparang Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunjavidum Smara Gaura Gadadhara Kelikalam Bhava Gaura Gadadhara Pakshachara Shrinu Gaura Gadadhara Charukatang Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunja Vidum Tvai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Devi Twang Nayamang Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptascha Kama Dittaranga Madhye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanaravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, dear devotees, Nitai Mukeshji, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, and I don't know who else is there. See, there are three people on YouTube and Facebook, maybe Indira Mataji and Raseshwari Mataji. If you write a comment, I'll see your name. Also, pranams to all the devotees watching in the future. Yeah, so yesterday I didn't know what our program was going to be. And so I didn't announce like when we would be starting our program. So, oh, Haribo Gokuleshwari Didi. Um, but yeah, so there aren't as many people joining us right now live as usual because probably many people didn't see that we changed the time to 30 minutes earlier just today. But oh, Haribo Raseshwari Mataji. Um, Yeah, so I'm starting earlier today because this is going to be our last live reading until um after well, no, Gaur Purnima Day. I'd like to do an online program. But until then, we're actually going on Parikrama today. Today we're going to do Sankalpa in Rudradvip, um, at near Doigat. So um yeah, we're leaving at 8 o'clock, and that's usually when we end our program here. So, uh, yeah, we'll just jump into it right now then. Anyways, yeah, let's just start. I have a couple things I want to read also on this topic of ras, just to make all these different terms more clear. I'm not so clear on everything myself, and so that's why I I'm not really like equipped to explain it in my own words. And so I just found two things to read, which I think makes all these different terms, all these terms of the four ingredients of rest very clear. Um, but we'll get there. Okay. So Harināma-cintāmaṇi, chapter 15, Bhajana-praṇālī. I'm just going to read everything until all the translations to up to where we read yesterday. Oh, and today's reading might go a little over time. I mean, like a little bit over an hour, just letting you know. Because, yeah, I want to see how far we can get in this chapter. And then whatever is left, I don't think we're not going to finish this chapter today, but I want to try to get as far as we can. And then I'll just have to pre-record the rest of the chapter in like half an hour installments. Let's see. This is the longest chapter in the book. Glories to Gadai Gauranga Jai, Jai Nityananda Jai, Sita Nata Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glories to Gadai Gauranga, glories to Nityananda, glories to the Lord of Sita, Advaita, and the devotees of Gaur. Glories, glories to those most fortunate Mahajans that have given everything up to perform bhajan of Harinam. That's a nice verse, huh? Sabachari Harinam, Jai Kore Bhajan, Jai Jai Bhagyavan She Mahajan. I might add that into the songbook as well. The Lord said, O Haridas, by the power of your bhakti, you have attained all the knowledge of the world. I see all the Vedas dancing upon your tongue, and I see how your words are all full of Siddhanta. Please clearly describe Namaras and how the jiva can become eligible to experience it. Feeling great prem, Haridas made this submission. On the strength of your order, I will describe it. So now, Rasa Tattva. All the Vedas glorify that which is called Ras to be of the same spiritual substance as the Paratattva, the supreme reality, who is the purest truth. Parabrahma is undivided Ras. He is the abode of unlimited bliss, and his glories are the greatest. I'm skipping Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary on all these also just because this is just meant to be a recap. So, but yeah, yesterday we read everything. So Parabrahma is undivided ras. He is Akila Rasamrita Murti, right? So he is the abode of unlimited bliss, and his glories are the greatest. He manifests as Shakti, as a potency, and as Shaktiman, the possessor of potencies. Although these are non-different, they appear to be different due to Vishesh, due to distinctions or specialities. But they are one. That incomprehensible Shaktiman, that possessor of all potencies, is revealed by the potency, by the Shakti. And using the threefold Shaktis, he creates the universe. The threefold Shaktis. There's the Para Shakti, or the Swarup Shakti, and the Jiva Shakti and Maya Shakti. And the Para Shakti we know is the Sandhini Shakti, Samvit Shakti, and Hladini Shakti. Okay, so the Chit Shakti reveals the name, dham, activities, and form of the supreme entity. I like the word entity better than substance. The word is vastu, though. Krishna is the Paramavastu, the supreme substance or supreme entity, and his form is dark. Goloka and other abodes are Krishna's dhams, where he exhibits his lila. His names, dham, forms, qualities, lila, etc., all belong to the category of akanda dvai gyan, the indivisible, non-dual knowledge. All varieties are due to the Parashakti. Krishna is the natural proprietor. He is the dharmi of the Parashakti, and it is Krishna's eternal activity. The dharma, the property, and the dharmi, the proprietor, are non-different, indivisible, and non-dual. In the abode of eternity and cognizance, variety is only due to vishesh, due to distinction, specialities, distinct features, but they are all one. But they are also, it's achinta bheda bheda. But there's, yeah, unlimited variety in the spiritual world. Now, the nature of Maya Shakti. The shadow of that Shakti, of that Para Shakti, is known as Maya. By the desire of Krishna, she creates the external world. Now, the Jiva Shakti. The Jivas, or Jiva Shakti, are one and different from the Supreme. They are manifest by Krishna. They are manifest by Krishna as tatastha, marginal, so they can perform service. Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the Para Shakti gives rise to the marginal Jiva Shakti, which is eternally and inconceivably different and non-different from the Lord, and manifests the individual Jivas, The jivas are a specific Shakti of Krishna Shakti, therefore they are meant to serve him. The two types of states for the jiva. There are two kinds of jiva. There's the Nitya Baddha, the eternally bound, and Nitya Mukta, the eternally liberated. Those that are Nitya Mukta are eternally eligible to perform service to Krishna. Those that are Nitya Baddha are bound by Maya and go through the cycle of birth and death. They are of two types: Bahirmukh, those who are averse to Krishna, and Antarmukh, those who are inclined towards Krishna. In the association of sadhus, those who are Antarmukh, who are inclined towards Krishna, can attain Krishna Nam. And through the influence of Krishna Nam, they progress to Krishna's abode. So now Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes through Rasa Nam Sarup, Rasa Gun Sarup, Rasa Nam Sarup, Rasa Rup Sarup, Rasa Gun Sarup, Rasa Lila Sarup. So Rasa is the nature of Nam. Rasa is the nature of Krishna's beautiful form. Rasa is the nature of Krishna's qualities. Rasa is the nature of Krishna's pastimes, and it's all a progression in the process of bhajan. First comes the name, and then comes the form, and then comes the qualities, and then comes the pastimes. It's a progression in bhajan. The name is indivisible ras, and its budding flower is disseminated throughout the universe in the form of names such as Krishna, etc. Okay, so I guess rasa is being compared to a flower, a blossoming flower. And so the name is indivisible ras, and its budding flower is disseminated throughout the universe in the form of the names such as Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the nature of names such as Krishna, etc., are Shuddha Sattva, and they are comprised of indivisible ras. By the mercy of Krishna, they appear like budding flowers which are disseminated throughout the universe. Now, ras is the nature of Krishna's form. When that budding flower begins to open slightly, the Lord's charming form is revealed as Sri Shyamasundar in Goloka Vrindavan. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, as the budding flower of the name begins to open slightly, the various charming transcendental forms of Krishna become manifest. Now, ras is the nature of Krishna's qualities. As the bud produces its fragrance, the name manifests the 64 qualities of Krishna. This is understood by those who are expert in tattva. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, just as when a flower partially opens and one can smell its fragrance, one can perceive the fragrance of Krishna's 64 qualities. Now, rasa is the nature of Krishna's lila. When it fully blooms, the beautiful flower of the name becomes the eternal eightfold pastimes, the Ashtakaliya Lila, which transcends matter. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when the flower of the name fully blooms, it appears as the eternal transcendental eightfold Lila, which transcends matter, yet still manifests within this world. Such a beautiful example, huh? The name is like a flower. And the name continues to manifest. First, it manifests the form, and then it manifests the qualities, and then the pastimes of Krishna. And as it continues to open, as it continues to blossom, I mean. So now, Bhakti Swarup, the nature of Bhakti. And Haribo Brinda Didi, and Ganga Mataji, and Meena Podel, Hare Krishna. And I already saw Lola Mataji, right? Yes, Haribo Lola Mataji. Okay. Now, Bhakti Swarup, the nature of Bhakti. When the name manifests its mercy to the jivas, the Swarup Shakti combines with the essence of the Samvit Shakti and takes the form of Bhakti. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, due to the mercy of the name, the Swarup Shakti comes to combine the minute portions of Samvit, knowledge, and Hladini Shakti and bliss that exists within the jiva, which then become the essential function of bhakti. Now the effects of bhakti. So that was bhakti ras, now is bhakti kriya, the effects of bhakti. The Swarup Shakti appears, and thus the name fully blooms. Then that supreme goddess reveals the ingredients of ras. So I guess first there's the name. And then from the name comes Krishna's form and Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes. And then Swarup Shakti appears and the name fully blooms. And then the supreme goddess, the Swarup Shakti, reveals the ingredients of ras. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says, Sarveshwari, which we know is Sarveshwari is a name for Srimati Radhika. It's in Radhakripa Kataksha Stavaraj. She is the presiding deity of all of Krishna's Shaktis. She is, yeah. So Sarveshwari, the Shakti who controls all things, the Shakti who controls all things appears, and she reveals all the ingredients of ras through Krishna Nam. Jai Sarveshwari, Srimati Radhika ki Jai. The purified transcendental jiva then enters that ras. This is astonishing. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says, by the power of bhakti, the jiva attains his transcendental form, his swarup, and then enters ras tattva, which has been revealed by the bhakti shakti. And now Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura explains what the four ingredient rasas that combine together are. So, actually, before we read this section, though, I want to read, because he doesn't give examples, and so it's just like it's all just a bit technical. But with some examples, then it becomes it becomes a lot more clear what these different terms mean. So this is from my Gurudev's book, Dhammadarashtakam. One second, let me just make it big. Okay. Forgot which chapter this is from. Wait, I have it here. This is from, chapter 1, the first Gurudev's commentary on verse 1 of Dhammadarashtakam. Okay, so with great difficulty, Kanaya, who is lying on his belly, moved little by little to the edge of his bed and then got down. Rubbing his eyes and crying, he somehow made it to where his mother was churning, tottering like an intoxicated elephant along the way. Krishna was tottering like an intoxicated elephant along the way. Baby Krishna. He caught hold of the churning rod and stopped it from twirling. Mother Yashoda's absorption broke. Seeing her darling son at her side, she immediately sat him on her lap and began breastfeeding him. Just by seeing her dear Krishna, her limbs became decorated by all of the Ashtasattvic bhavs, the 8 types of bodily transformations arising from ecstatic love of God. Furthermore, the special emotion of motherly affection manifested, namely, milk began to flow from her breasts. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, baby Krishna is the Vishaya Alambana of Vatsalya Ras. That is, he is the object upon which motherly love depends. His mother, Sri Yashoda, is the Ashray Alambana, or the reservoir of love for him. Baby Krishna's gorgeous face is the Udipan, or the stimulus that rouses motherly love. And Mother Yashoda's tears, the standing on end of her bodily hairs, the flowing of milk from her breasts, and so on, are the Sattvika bhavs, or transformations of ecstasy in her body. All these ingredients of love, namely Vibhav, which is Vishaya Alambana, Ashraya Alambana, and Udipan, Anubhav, deep emotions that are realized through outward expressions on the body, and so forth, then combined with Mother Yashoda's own Sthai Bhav, namely Vatsalya Rati, and began to make her relish Vatsalya Ras. So this is just this doesn't have a complete explanation of all the four ingredients. Explains Vibhav and Sattvic Bhav mostly, and it doesn't really mention Anubhav so much. Sthai Bhav. Yeah, so there's another thing, and I'm just I'm reading right now from Haribol Prajumna Prabhu and Mantra Murti Mataji, Hare Krishna. So I'm I'm going to read from a book, Circle of Friends, and I'm not sure, maybe some. Anyways, I'm just wondering, like, I don't want to open up a whole can of worms, but this book, Circle of Friends, is written by Sripad Tripurari Maharaj, who like before I used to be like very cautious, like I didn't want to read his things, but I've seen in recent times I've seen multiple instances of him showing really deep, genuine um appreciation for Srila Gurudev and for our Param Gurudev. And and I've read half of Circle of Friends, and he wrote everything in a way that doesn't contradict, like like a very common point that we hear from Srila Gurudev. He would say over and over and over again that all all Rupanugas are Raganuga, but not all Raganugas are Rupanuga. And so Tripurari Maharaj also writes about that point in this book, Circle of Friends, and he writes that point also in a way, like he writes about that point in a way that doesn't contradict what Gurudev says. He writes in it like it's so far I haven't, and this is my principle. If somebody has affection for Srila Gurudev, if they have honor for Gurudev, and the and he has different um yeah, anyway, sorry, I don't mean to go on like a whole long disclaimer or whatever, but I think maybe some devotees have different opinions on this, and I'm just explaining where I only accept what I hear from Gurudev. If somebody says something that is not in line with what I've heard from Gurudev, then I don't accept it. Um, and so that's where I stand. So far in this book, I haven't seen anything that would contradict what Gurudev says. And also, a very important thing for me is that somebody has honor for Gurudev. And anyways, I'm not saying that I accept everything that I read in this book. Like I'm just, but but so far I haven't seen anything that was contradictory. And like with things with Srila Prabhupada, seeing Srila Prabhupada and Sakyaras and like that, I've I've devotees anyways, I'm opening up a whole can of worms. I didn't mean to do that. Um but like I personally I'm a disciple of Gurudev, and this is what I've understood from Srila Gurudev. I see Srila Prabhupada as being in Madhuras, but I also don't have any problem with people seeing Srila Prabhupada as being in Sakyaras. And actually, this topic is so beyond me. So like, and reading Gorgonadesh Jipika, it's with so many like all different personalities. Everybody has different opinions, and sometimes there's multiple personalities in one person. It's like it's such a subtle, deep, complex tattva that it would be ridiculous for me to have a strong opinion that no, it has to be this way. But I know in Jaiva Dharma, we read recently how Rajanath and Vijay Kumar both saw Raghunath Das Babaji as, Rajanath saw him as the embodiment of Sualsaka, and Vijay Kumar saw him as the embodiment of Lalita Devi in that way. So there's a lot of room for, because it's a ras, and everybody experiences a ras in a unique, special, individual way with Krishna, and so they'll see things in different ways like that. And I accept what I get from what I've, my Gurudev is my everything, and I accept everything that is in line with what I've heard from him. And but I'm also Anyways, what Tripurari Maharaj, I'm going to stop talking about this now because I don't want to, this isn't meant to be a whole thing, but um, he explains this, he explains all these terms and it gives lots of very nice examples to make everything really clear. And so that's why I wanted to read from that book. All right. If anybody wants to talk about this with me also, I'm very happy to discuss in depth all these things. But, okay. So this is from the book Circle of Friends. And so I just, yeah. Okay, to summarize Vibhav, wait, what is it? Okay, so Vibhav is only one of the four ecstatic ingredients that assist Sthayi Bhav of fraternal love. Wait, Vibhav is only one of the four ecstatic ingredients that assist the Sthayi Bhav of fraternal love in maturing from its budding stage and flowering into Sakya Ras. To summarize, Vibhav has two divisions. The first division, Alambana Vibhav, is that which constitutes a locus for the bhav to express itself in loving reciprocation. Okay, so that vibhav is divided. There's a personified object of love, there's the Vishaya Alambana Vibhav, and the personification of that love, the Ashraya Alambana Vibhav, in which the love is sheltered. The second division of Vibhav is Udipan Vibhav. Sorry, the second division of Vibhav, Udipan Vibhav, is that which excites or stimulates the Sthayi Bhav. It consists of any number of things related to Krishna and his transcendental drama of divine love. So, dramatic props such as a particular setting, Krishna's age, his flute, his herding stick, the sounds of his horn, and so on. Next, we'll discuss anubhavs, or intentional ecstatic expressions that manifest as a natural consequence after the vibhavs have nourished the sthayi bhav by defining its roles and exciting it. Now, intentional ecstatic expressions, these are the anubhavs. Unlike the more causal nature of vibhav that allows the sthayi bhav to be tasted by giving it shape and exciting it, anubhavs are conscious gestures through which spiritual emotion is externally expressed as an effect. They are activities that manifest in the body after the different causes of love, the vibhavs, have nourished the dominant emotion of fraternal love. Anubhavs serve as charming expressions of inner spiritual emotion, adding yet another dimension to fraternal love. In Sakyarati, some anubhavs are common to all four groups of sakas, while others are relative to a particular group. Urupa Goswami defines them as follows. So these are examples of anubhavs in Sakyaras. Anubhavs common to all of Krishna's comrades include delighting him in combat, playing ball, gambling, riding atop one another's shoulders, stick fighting, sleeping and sitting with Krishna on his bedstead, seat, or swing, entertaining him with jokes, engaging in water sports, and singing and dancing together with him. Activities particular to the sakas include, so there's four different groups of sakas, right? So activities particular to the sakas include placing betel nut in Krishna's mouth, adorning his forehead with tilak, smearing sandalwood on his body, and painting designs of leaves and vines on his body. The activities particular to the suhrits, it's another division of Krishna's friends, include giving advice on what should and should not be done, engaging in beneficial acts, and assuming leadership in whatever act is performed. Activities particular to the Priya Sakas include conquering Krishna in mock fighting, grabbing his clothes and pulling him, snatching flowers from his hands, and making him adorn them, making Krishna adorn them, and engaging in hand-to-hand combat. Activities particular to the Priyanarmasakas include serving as messengers for the Vrajakishoris, sympathizing with their love for Krishna, taking Krishna's side in the gopis' love quarrels with him when only they are present in their absence, cleverly supporting the particular gopi group leader they have taken shelter of, and whispering secret messages in each other's ears. So those are all anubhavs in Sakyaras. Concluding his brief discussion of the anubhav of Sakyarati, Rupa Goswami cites some of the anubhavs that Krishna's friends also share with those in Dasyarati. He also states that from his list of anubhavs in general found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.2, some may also be relevant to Sakyarati. Okay, I'm just skipping a little bit, but okay. Now, so those are anubhavs. How does he translate anubhav? I just want to see again. These are intentional ecstatic expressions, anubhavs. And now, here, unintentional ecstatic expressions. These are sattvic bhavs. I think Rukmini Didi used the term voluntarily and involuntarily, or intentional and unintentional. So unintentional ecstatic expressions, these are sattvic bhavs. While anubhavs are expressed consciously as our ordinary bodily activity, while anubhavs are expressed consciously as our ordinary bodily activities, sattvic bhavs, by contrast, are abnormal, involuntary expressions of ecstasy. Anubhavs reveal or shed light on one's internal emotional reality, and thus they are driven by one's antakarana, being infused with bhav. They enhance one's love for Krishna by way of rendering it observable. However, the conscious manner in which anubhavs are expressed and the involuntary way in which sattvikas express themselves underscore the difference between these two. Both are manifestations of a bhav-infused heart, but anubhavs are an external expression of this Shuddha Sattva, not to be confused with Sattva Gun. So, anubhavs are an external expression of this Shuddha Sattva combined with intellect or intention, whereas sattvic bhavs are derived from an internal flow of Shuddha Sattva throughout the body and constitute an expression of Shuddha Sattva alone. The latter appear of their own accord with no intention to express them on the part of the devotee. And in contrast to the more charming anubhavs, they are uncommon bodily transformations of ecstasy that underscore the extraordinary nature of Sakyarati. Furthermore, unlike anubhavs, sattvic bhavs express themselves both physically and as internal states of mind. Rupa Goswami gives the following example in which tears pour like fountains from the cowherd's eyes out of concern for Krishna's safety. So now this is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.3.101. It says, seeing the forest fire spread around through the dry cotton reeds, Krishna's friends, not considering their own bodies, surrounded Krishna on all sides, appearing to extinguish the fire with the tears from their eyes. Sorry, let me just reread that because my mind went somewhere else when I read that. Seeing the forest fire spread around through the dry cotton reeds, Krishna's friends, not considering their own bodies, surrounded Krishna on all sides, appearing to extinguish the fire with the tears from their eyes. Wow, what a beautiful description, huh? In Sakyarati, the sattvic bhavs are 8 in number: paralysis, perspiration, hair standing on end, choking of the voice, trembling, changing color, tears, and fainting. The vital air, or yogic pran, circulates throughout the body, sometimes resting in earth, water, fire, or ether, and sometimes resting onto itself. Its connection with these elements, or its keeping to itself, is the mechanism for which the 8 sattvic bhavs manifest. When the pran connects with earth, Sattva carried on the vital air, sattva carried on the vital air generates the sattvic bhav of paralysis. When pran connects with water, sattva generates the sattvic bhav of tears. When pran connects with fire, sattva generates the sattvic bhavs of perspiration and a change of color or complexion. When pran connects with ether, sattva generates the sattvic bhav of fainting. When pran remains unto itself slightly, moderately, or extremely, sattva generates the sattvic bhav of horripilation, trembling, and choking of the voice, respectively. Wow, amazing, huh? Okay, so furthermore, these sattvic bhavs also manifest in different degrees of intensity as the sthāyi bhav intensifies from pranay onward. These are all, for all these sentences, also all the sections um, of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu are given. So this is all directly from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay, so those were the first three ingredients. And now here's the last ingredient, the fourth ingredient, which is transitory emotions, sanchari bhavs. Like anubhavs, sattvic bhavs sattvic bhavs involve observable external expressions. But unlike anubhavs, they are involuntary and are also constituted of internal mental or emotional states. This latter aspect of sattvic bhavs is what makes them similar to the final ingredient of bhakti ras, sanchari bhav. And then there's a footnote. It says, sanchari bhavs are also referred to as vyabhichari bhavs. The syllable vi implies that these bhavs enhance, or vishesh. The syllables abhi imply that these bhavs act in relation to the foundational or mukhya emotion, the sthāyi bhav. And abhimukhya, the syllables cha ra imply that these bhavs move, charanti, they move, and from the sthāyi, they move to and from the sthāyi bhav. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Ṭhākura comments on this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 242. Okay. Okay. So thus, Rupa Goswami considers sattvic bhavs to be similar to anubhavs in terms of their physical ingredient, and similar to sanchari bhavs in terms of their transitory emotive ingredient. That which is sancharin is transitory. Thus, the term sanchari bhav refers to the transitory emotions that come and go, and in doing so, augment the sthāyi bhav of sakyarati. Unlike vibhavs, which are causes, and anubhavs, which are effects, sanchari bhavs are companions of the sthāyi bhav. Just as waves arise out of and merge back into the ocean, so the sakas sanchari bhavs arise out of their sthāyi bhav and eventually merge back into it. Thus they enhance and nuance the sthāyi bhav of sakyarati temporarily. And Rupa Goswami lists 33 sanchari bhavs. I'm not going to read, just read the Sanskrit, whatever. So 1, self-disparagement, nirved. 2, despondency, vishad. 3, depression, dainyam or dinata. 4, debility, glani or mlani. 5, fatigue, shram. 6, intoxication, mada. 7, pride, garva. 8, apprehension. Okay, I'm going to skip the Sanskrit. I'm just going to read I'm not going to read the numbers. I'm just going to get through it quick. Alarm, agitation, madness, loss of memory, sickness, bewilderment, death-like symptoms, indolence, stupefaction, shame, concealment of one's feelings, remembrance, doubt, pondering, resolve, steadiness, joy, eagerness, wrath, intolerance, envy, carelessness, drowsiness, dreaming, and insight or awakening. Among them, only 30 are experienced in Sakyarati. The sanchari bhavs of wrath, alarm, and indolence do not arise in Sakyarati. Jiva Goswami explains that Krishna's friends never express wrath directed at Krishna, nor do they ever experience sudden alarm or fear of him, and indolence does not arise in them unless it is favorable for serving Krishna. Furthermore, in Sakyarati, Intoxication, joyfulness, prize, drowsiness, and steadiness do not appear in separation from Krishna. And death-like symptoms, fatigue, sickness, loss of memory, and depression, do not appear in union with Krishna. Sri Rupa Goswami defines each of the 33 Sanchari Bhavs in greater detail and describes different circumstances in which they arise along with examples. Let us close this section with two examples of Sanchari Bhav in fraternal love. Sri Rupa Goswami refers to the joy, the harsha, experienced by Krishna's cowherd friends when he arose from the Yamuna after successfully chastising the serpent Kaliya. Prior to this, the young cowherds had passed out after seeing Krishna wrapped in Kaliya's coils. Then Srimad Bhagavatam describes this event. Seeing Krishna, the young gopas all immediately arose as if coming back to life. Filled with immense joy, they affectionately embraced him. So Rupa Goswami has also penned his own verse describing the gopas' joy and how it overtook their speech and bodily functions. When Krishna returned after dispelling Kaliya, his friends lost control of their bodies in great joy. They could not stand on their feet, and their speech was incoherent. Anyways, I think this is enough. I'm not gonna, we've already been reading this for a long time. So I just wanted to get a very, I thought was a very clear explanation of these different ingredients. I found it really helpful. So, because now we'll be a little bit more clear on what these terms that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is bringing up now. So, Raser Vibhav Alambana. Oh, and Haribol, Manas and Subhadra and Chatamai Mataji Haribol. Okay. So, alambana as a causal element of ras. One of the causal elements, the vibhav of ras, is alambana tattva, the support or foundation. Alambana has two divisions. The ashray, the recipient, are the abode of love, which is the devotee, and the vishay are the object of love, which is the treasure that is Krishna. Okay, no, we already read this yesterday. So when the name is constantly chanted by a great devotee, then by the mercy of the name, the Lord's form, qualities, and lila are revealed to him. Now, this is udipan as a causal element of ras. So this is so vibhav, right? Vibhav is they're translating as the causal element of ras. So there's the ashray alambana and vishay alambana, and now there's udipan. Udipan includes Krishna's form and qualities. Both alambana and udipan are vibhav. They are both causal elements of ras. And also all the things related to Krishna, right? Like we read from Gurudev here. Anyways, okay. So now, Anubhav stems from Vibhav. When Vibhav is fully experienced, then Anubhav arises. These are all transformations of Prem that are comprised of Shuddha Prem. Now, Rasa arises from Sthāyi Bhav when activities in Vibhav are mixed with Sanchari Bhav and Sattvic Bhav. When Sanchari Bhav and Sattvic Bhav arise and are added to Sthāyi Bhav, Ras manifests. This is mentioned by all the Shastras. I know this Ras to be the essence of all things, the very essence of perfection. I accept that all the Shastras says that it is the supreme goal of human existence. By the mercy of a pure guru, a jiva who is eager for bhakti achieves the good fortune of attaining the divine names of the beautiful divine couple. He remembers those names by chanting a prescribed... Oh wait, is this where we read up to yesterday? I think it is. Yeah. Okay, so I see it's 7:24. I'm going to read for another 15 minutes. Let me put a timer on just so that yeah. Maybe I'll read a bit. Maybe I could read for 20 minutes if that would work for everybody. Yeah, I'm going to read for 20 minutes and I will set a timer just to make sure I don't. No, I'll just look at the time. Okay. So, Taha Paibar Kram, the gradual path to attain it. This ras. Okay. Shairasa sarvasar siddhisar jani parama purusha artha sarva shastre mani. I know this ras to be the essence of all things, the very essence of perfection. I accept that all the Shastra I accept that all the Shastras says that it is the supreme goal of human existence. All the Shastras say that it is the supreme goal of human existence. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this ras is the ras of Raj, the essence of all things, and the highest achievement for the jiva. The four goals of human life are dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, religiosity, wealth, sense gratification, and liberation. Although dharma, artha, kama, and moksha are the four goals of human existence, this ras is actually their highest goal. That person who is completely liberated is qualified for that ras. Bhaktyunmukha jiva shuddha gurur kripai Shri Yugala Brahmanam Sobhagyete pai. By the mercy of a pure guru, a jiva who is eager for bhakti achieves the good fortune of attaining the divine names of the beautiful divine couple. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, amongst those persons who are introspective, those who are eager for Shuddha Bhakti are the best. It is due to the power of an abundance of sukriti that someone is inclined to take to the path of bhakti. When Shraddha arises in them, they attain a pure Sadguru. By the Guru's mercy, he obtains the Mahamantra, consisting of the names of the divine couple. Tulasi malainam sankhya kori smare, atava kirtana kore parama adare. He remembers those names by chanting a prescribed number of them on tulsi beads. Otherwise, he chants them in kirtan aloud with great respect. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, even though there may be shraddha, at first there may be obstacles in the form of material endeavors. Sri Gurudev bestows the gradual path of sadhan in order that one may overcome these obstacles by attaining strength from the name. One should remember the name by chanting a prescribed number on tulsi beads, or worship him by kirtan. This gradual method of worship is the foundation to all success. Therefore, one should initially spend some time in a secluded place and chant the name with one pointed concentration. Gradually, one increases the number of holy names and does not cease his practice in chanting the name. And then all material obstacles will certainly be removed. There are two types of inclination within bhakti sadhan. One is the inclination towards archan, towards deity worship, and the other, and sorry. So one is the inclination towards archan or deity worship, and and the other is the inclination for smaran and kirtan. Right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Both of these are good, but the inclination towards smaran and kirtan is stronger amongst those devotees who are exclusive devotees, who are ekantik bhaktas. Many Mahajans engaged in smaran by chanting some amount of names on beads, and some amount through nam kirtan. The advantage of kirtan is that one engages in shravan, smaran, and kirtan. One performs three limbs of bhakti simultaneously. Yes, that's the amazing thing about nam kirtan, when we're singing together out loud, is you're hearing the name, you're remembering Krishna, and it's coming out of you're singing it, you're doing kirtan. So all three are happening simultaneously. Ekagranta sankhya kori arambhibenam Gramatina lakasmari pure manaskam. One should begin by chanting one grantha of names. That means 4 rounds. One grantha equals 4 rounds. Gradually, one will meditate upon 3 lakhs of the holy names, and all desires will be fulfilled. Translators, yeah, we already know that. 3 lakhs is 192 rounds. A grantha is 4 rounds. So you go from a grantha from 4 rounds to 3 lakhs, 192. But it's gradual. We should not jump. It should happen naturally. Sankhya madhye kichu naam koribe kirtan tate sarvendriya spurti ananda nartan. Amongst this prescribed number, some names should be sung in kirtan. In this way, all the senses will dance in bliss. Okay, so some of our nam should be in kirtan, not just everything is on japa. Interesting. Nam nava vida anga koroi ashray tatapi kirtana smriti sarva shrishta hoy. The name gives shelter to the 9 processes of bhakti. However, kirtan and remembering the name is the best of all. While the name gives shelter to the 9 processes of bhakti, however, kirtan and remembering, kirtan and smaran, is the best of all. Okay. Archan marg o shravan kirtaner adhikar bhede kriya bhed. The different qualifications and activities leading to the path of archan and hearing and chanting. Archana marget, right? So there's two things. There's archan, worship of the deities and like that, in which there's also kirtan and archan. Can't do archan without kirtan. But then there's just the path of hearing and chanting, smaran and kirtan. So archana margete gara tara ruchi jar shravana kirtana siddhi tahate tahar. One who is attached to the path of archan attains the perfection of shravan and kirtan. They attain the perfection of shravan and kirtan, hearing and chanting. Name aikantiki rati hoibe jahar shravana kirtana smriti kevala tahar. One who has resolute affection for the name engages only in shravan, kirtan, and smriti, or smaran. That's hearing, chanting, and remembering the holy name. So they don't really engage in archan, right? Is that what it's saying? Yeah. One who engages in resolute affection for the name engages only in shravan, kirtan, and smriti. Nam shravan kirtan smarane jekram. The gradual process of hearing and chanting the name. Seva nati dasya sakya atma nivedan sahaje namer shange hoy pravartan. Service, offering obeisance, servitorship, friendship, and surrendering oneself are naturally born from associating with the name. Nam nami ek tattva vishwas koriya dash aparada chadi nirjane boshiya. Sitting in a secluded place, one should give up the 10 offenses with the faith that that nam and nami, that the name and the possessor of the name are one tattva. And then there's Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, he says, Vishais, materialists, karmis, those attached to pious activities, and jnanis, impersonal philosophers, are the 3 types of people who are apathetic, who are bahirmukh. This is because they endeavor to attain illusory selfish happiness. The Vishayi tries to achieve gratification of his bodily senses. The karmi endeavors to gratify his senses in the future. And the jnani strives to eliminate all his miseries. That jiva who is beyond these 3 conditions is said to be introspective, antarmukh. The 3 different kinds of persons who are antarmukh are kanishta, madhyam, and uttam. The neophyte, intermediate, and advanced. The introspective kanishta gives up the worship of devas, etc., and engages in worshipping the deity of Krishna in order to fulfill all his desires. However, he is unaware of his own intrinsic nature, the nature of Krishna, and the nature of the devotees. The Kanishta is not a fool nor an offender. Amongst them, the Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam, he is the most self-centered. He is Swanishta. Thus, they are not pure Vaishnavas, but rather they are Vaishnav Prai, almost a Vaishnav, or they resemble Vaishnavas, but they are not actually a Vaishnav. The introspective Madhyam is a pure Vaishnav, and he is Parinishta. He is firmly situated. So much can be said about the introspective Uttam. He is Nirapeksha. He is totally detached. One cannot be Antarmukh unless he understands that the name and the possessor of the name are non-different. Those who are Antarmukh have exclusive Shraddha in Bhagavan. Thus, they are qualified to receive the name. This is a very interesting explanation of Swanishta, Parinishta, and Nirapeksha. Hey, so we can come back to this. I'll definitely come back to this at another time when we go through those terms. Okay. Oh, okay. Ati swalpadine nam hoya sadoy, Shri Shama Sundarupe hoyen udoy. In a few days, one will attain the mercy of the name, and the form of Sri Shama Sundar will manifest. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the gradual stages of sadhana are thus. Firstly, the introspective devotee avoids the 10 offenses. We read this yesterday, but it's good we're reading it again. So the gradual stages of sadhana are thus. Firstly, the introspective devotee avoids the 10 offenses and constantly engages in sadhana of nam, smaran, and kirtan. While performing smaran and kirtan, he should pronounce the name clearly and loudly. When the holy name is distinct, steady, and blissful, he should meditate upon the form of Sri Shama Sundar. Using the hands to count on beads, one should constantly try to attain the holy name with one's mind or mouth, and then one will see the true meaning of the name with spiritual eyes. Otherwise, one should sit in front of the deity, gazing at the form, remembering the name. When the name becomes one with the form, one should then practice. Otherwise, one should just sit in front of the deity, gazing at the form, remembering the name. Okay, now, when the name becomes one with the form, one should then practice remembering all of Krishna's qualities. When one internally realizes that the Lord's name, form, and qualities are one, then one can begin to remember the Lord's Lila through mantra Dhyana-maya, by meditating upon the Lila through one's guru-given mantra, which eventually becomes one with the name, form, and qualities. At this time, Nam Ras arises. But see how nothing is artificial. It's once you get to this level where you understand that Krishna is non-different from his name. Then when you come to that realization, then, and it's a gradual process like that. And this is how you can remember the Lord's Leela. Once one internally realizes that the Lord's name, form, and qualities are one, then one can begin to remember the Lord's Leela through mantra, dhyana, and maya. Not just understanding it theoretically or intellectually, but like when one actually realizes it, then one can meditate on the Lord's pastimes like that. So, yeah, at this time, let's see. So then one can begin to remember the Lord's Leela through mantra Dhyanamaya, which eventually becomes one with the name, form, and qualities. At this time, Nam Ras arises. Ras completely arises when mantra Dhyanamaya meditation becomes Swarasiki. Swarasiki Ashtakaliya Leela Dhyan. That means spontaneous meditation upon Krishna's eightfold pastimes. At the beginning of this sadhana, the devotee is basically a kanishta. By sadhu sangha with uttamas, the sadhak quickly becomes a madhyam devotee and is finally counted among amongst the Uttama devotees, the topmost devotees. At the Kanishta stage, he spends some days practicing his chanting. By practicing his chanting, his anarthas go far away, and he becomes qualified for Shuddhanam and Vaishnav Seva. Really amazing comment there, huh? By Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So now, Jabe naam rupe aikya hoito sadhane, naam loite rupa aise, sorry, naam loite rupa aise chitte sarvakhane. When the name and form become identical during sadhan, during one's chanting of the name, the form appears in the heart at every moment. Okay, so when the name and the rup, when the nam and rup, when the name and the form become identical during sadhan, during one's chanting of the name, then the form appears in the heart at every moment. Tar kichu dine rupe guna kori jog, Shri Nama smarane guna koroi sambhog. After some days, the Lord's qualities are added along with his form, and one relishes those qualities while remembering Shri Nam. Now, Nam Rup Gunir Ekata, the oneness of Krishna's Nam Rup Gun, Krishna's name, form, and qualities. Swalpadine Nam Rupa Guna Ekahoy, Nam Loite Sarva Khane Tinir Udoy. In a few days, the name, the form, and qualities become one. And as one chants the name, these three manifests at every moment. Upasana mantra dhyanamaya, worship through meditating upon one's mantra. Mantra dhyanamaya e nama upasana, pratamika dhara jani korevi bhavana. Mantra dhyanamaya is worship of the holy name. One should know that this is the first wave of the appearance of the results of one's chanting. Okay, so mantra dhyanamaya, meditative worship of the holy name. One should know that this is the first wave of the appearance of the results of one's chanting. And then next is Swarasiki, right? Let's see. Smriti kale yoga pithe kalpadrumatale gopa gopi vritte krishne dekhe kutuhale. At the time of meditation, one is at the yoga pit beneath a desire tree. There, Krishna is seen happily surrounded by gopas and gopis. And there's a note from the translator. He says, the yoga pit is the principal meeting place in Vraj where Radha and Krishna meet, surrounded by the gopis. There's an elaborate description of the yoga pit in many shastras such as Govinda Lilamrita and Bhakti Ratnakar. Okay. Satvika vikarsha bhoy prasphutita bhajana anande bhakta hoy pulakita. Immersed in the bliss of bhajan, the devotee experiences joy as all the symptoms of sattvic vikar manifest. And sattvic vikar are the 8 divine transformations of the body. We already read about this, but stamba, sweda, romancha, svarabhanga, kampa, vivarna, ashru, pralay. That is paralysis, perspiration, horripilation, faltering of the voice, shivering, changing of bodily hue, tears, fainting due to devastation. Krame jabe nam swa sorabe prapulita ashtakala krishna lila hoibe udita. Gradually, as the name's own natural fragrance blossoms, the eightfold pastimes of Krishna manifest. Okay, so after and that was remember before he gave the whole example of comparing the name to the flower, and first it begins with the blossoming, which is Nam, and then it expands a little bit more, and then Krishna's form manifests, and then it expands a bit more, and then Krishna's qualities manifest, and then gradually, as the name's own natural fragrance blossoms, the eightfold pastimes of Krishna manifests. Okay, so that was all mantra mai upasana. What was it? What did it say? Mantra dhyana mai upasana. Okay, mantra dhyana mai enam upasana. And now next is swarasiki upasana. Worship through spontaneous meditation. One, the meditation is coming after meditating on the mantras that one receives from Guru. And now the next is worship through spontaneous meditation. Swarasiki upasana hoibe udoy lilo chitta pite krishne darshana koroy. And I already saw it, right? Jaydev Prabhu and Rukmini Didi Dandavat Prams. Yeah, okay. Um, okay. When Swarasiki upasana, worship through spontaneous meditation occurs, one attains darshan of Krishna performing pastimes at various places during the day. Shange Shange Guru Kripa Siddha Swarupete Leelai Praveshe Bhakta Sakhir Sangete. By the mercy of the Guru, the devotee immediately acquires his Siddha Swarup, his spiritual form, and enters those pastimes accompanying a Sakhi. Mahabhav Swarupini Vrishabhanu Sutta Tar Anugata Bhakti Sada Prema Juta. The daughter of Vrishabhanu, Sri Radha, is Mahabhav Swarupini. She is the personification of the highest ecstasy. Bhakti, in accordance with her, is always filled with prem. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, he gives a note. There are 5 rasas. There's Shantaras, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Shringar. And Shringar ras is the topmost. Those persons who are eligible for this ras are supremely indebted to Sri Krishna Chaitanya. In this ras, Krishna has many Yuteshwaris, group leaders amongst the gopis. But Srimati Vrishabhanu Nandini is prayed to by all. She is directly the Swarup Shakti, and all the beautiful women of Raj are her personal expansions of ras. The sole objective of rasik, of those who are rasik, those who are expert in relishing ras, is to be counted amongst the yuta, the group of Srimati. Without taking shelter of the gopis, it is not possible to attain service to Krishna in Vraj. Therefore, it is necessary to enter Srimati's group under the supervision of Lalita, etc. Sakhi agya mate kore jugal sevan, mahapreme magna hoy sherasi kajan. Following the instructions of the Sakhis, one engages in service to the divine couple. Thus, the rasiks, those who are expert in relishing ras, become absorbed in mahaprem. Maybe we'll read this section and then we'll end for today. Linga bhange vastu siddhi, discarding the subtle body and attaining vastu siddhi. Sadhana bhajana siddhi, laga lagitai, linga bhange vastu siddhi, tomar kripai. At this point, one's sadhan bhajan is close to perfection. Then, by your mercy, O Saccidānanda Gaur Hari, the subtle body is discarded and one achieves vastu siddhi. So then Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says, as one is engaged in this process of ras sadhan, one's sadhan and the perfection of bhajan become close to each other. After a few days, one's swarup siddhi is realized. Krishna's desire will naturally follow the mercy of a Yuteshwari. When this occurs, the illusory subtle body, the linga deha, which originates from adversity to Krishna, is easily destroyed, and the jiva achieves residence in Vraj in his vastu swarup, in his original spiritual form. Okay, let's just read this part also, and then we'll end. Okay, sorry, I always do this, but I actually do need to go because we're leaving in Purkuman just 10 minutes from now. Tad uttara vasta vanan hoina, keval anubhutta hoy. The state beyond this cannot be described. It can only be experienced. Ihar adhika ar vakya nahi chale, tar utar anubhav labhi kripa bole. Words cannot extend beyond this. Whatever is beyond this can only be experienced by the power of mercy. There's no way to describe this. It can only be experienced. Whatever is beyond this can only be experienced by the power of mercy. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, up to this point, the course of the jiva may be described using words. Beyond this, the state of the devotee cannot be described through words. It is only possible to experience it by your mercy. Your mercy, O Saccidānanda Gaur Hari. Eto ujvala ras parama sadhan ihate nishchoy mile Krishna prema dhan. This is the supreme sadhan that leads to ujvala ras, by which one attains the treasure of Krishna prem. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this Shringa ras is called ujvala ras, the brilliant ras. And why not? In the spiritual world, this tattva is supremely brilliant. One attains this by following this ras in the vraj of this world. So we will end here. Tomorrow, from now on, I'm going to have to read the rest of this chapter by making pre-recorded live videos. So we'll still go live on YouTube every day. Only on YouTube. There won't be any more Zoom for a little while. But yeah, we will read. I'll go live on YouTube every day at the same time that we normally start at 7 a.m. India time. I don't know what that is everywhere else, but and it will only be half-hour long readings because the program I'm using only allows for half an hour of live streaming. But yeah, we will slowly get through the rest of this chapter in half-hour chunks. But so tomorrow we're going to read about Sadhane Ekadashabhav, the sadhan of Ekadashabhav. Ekadashabhav. In order to achieve Ujjvala Ras, there are 11 aspects. There are Ekadashabhav. There's relationship, age, name, form, connection with a particular group, dress, orders, residence, service, one's highest aspiration, and one's mood as a dependent maidservant. This is incomparable. Okay, so we're going to read about the Ekadasha Bhavs, and then the 5 stages of Bhav Sadhan. This is explained there's the Shravan Dasa, the Varan Dasa, the Smaran Dasa, Apana Dasha, and Sampatti Dasha. These are considered to be the 5 stages of sadhan in Bhav, right? Yeah, in Bhav sadhan. And then this is all like, okay, and then then he'll go through explaining each one of these stages of Bhav sadhan. So yeah, I guess that's what we'll read about tomorrow. This is all very high topics, extremely high topics, but at least when we read this, I didn't even notice you before, Archana Mataji. Sorry, Haribol. But yeah, very high topics, but this is what we know, that this is like we're reading this knowing what to aspire for. It's always important to have after having an established having a firm foundation of Dashmula Tattva and having a understanding of the glories of the name and practicing, then now we're just looking at what we have to look forward to in the this is our aspiration, right? All our sadhana that we perform should be with the aim of attaining bhav. That is the definition of sadhana in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, right? How does that verse go? Not seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatrahi. No. My mind's really. Anyways, I need to go for parikrama, and we're leaving in 5 minutes. So I'll just do a quick mantra and Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Haribo. Jai Shri Saccinānanda Gaur, Hari Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Param Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gaurya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Swapasha Jigo Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Gan Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Harināma-cintāmaṇi Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur. Jai Shri Saccidānanda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jai Shri Saccidānanda, sorry. Jai Shri Harināma-cintāmaṇi Ki Jai. Nama Jai Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Shri Saccinānanda Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Akila Rasamritamurti, Shri Krishna Chandra Ki Jai, Sarveshwari Raseshwari Shri Vishwabhanunandini Shrimati Radha Thakurani Ki Jai, Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai, Priyai Keshavashacha, Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi, Sattvatai Namo Namo, Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta, Kripa Sindhubhyai Vacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, dear devotees, Manas and Subhadra, Gokuleshwari Didi, Archana Mataji, Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Nitai Mukesh Ji, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Raseshwari Mataji, Ganga Mataji, Vrinda Didi, Meena Podel, Vidyalalasa Didi, Jaydev Prabhu, Rukmini Didi, and everybody else. Dandavat pranams. I guess Indira Mataji is there as well. Dandavat pranams, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Not live, but the video will go live every day at 7 a.m. from 7 to 7:30 every day until we finish this chapter. All right, Haribol. Hare Krishna. We're now going to Rudradvip to do our Sankalpa. Yeah. All right, Haribol.